Hello and welcome. This is Noah with Nomad Gaming, and we are here with a video for the Marvel Champions LCG, which is a living card game produced and distributed by Fantasy Flight Games. Today, we are going to be taking a look at our second expansion hero for the game, Miss Marvel. If you haven't seen our hero reviews for the core set heroes, scroll back through our playlist and check out content on the 6 original heroes. When you're done with that, come back and let's jump over to our hero card. In Marvel Champions, each player chooses a two-sided identity card, which starts with its alter ego side face up. Our second hero expansion has given us Miss Marvel, one of the game's most difficult but most rewarding characters yet. Let's take a look into our statistics and see what we're going to be working with here. With 10 hit points, we're a little bit below average. Our hand size is fairly standard at 6 in Alter Ego and 5 in Hero. Things start to get a little bit crazy when we look at our core stats, though. On Alter Ego side, we have a whopping 5 Recover. That's little consolation for our small health pool. And then when we flip over to our hero form, Miss Marvel boasts an incredibly unimpressive 1-1-1 thwart, attack, and defend stat line. You may be wondering if these underdeveloped stats reflect the clumsy mediocrity of a teenager, or if there is some more flexibility somewhere for this hero. Let's take a closer look at our abilities. Alter Ego form, Kamala Khan, is an inhuman who has the ability Teen Spirit, which is an action that reads discard cards from the top of your deck until you discard a Miss Marvel card. Then add that card to your hand, limit once per round. This ability shows a little bit of the awkward teenage twist to card draw. We might have to give up some resources or other useful cards from our main deck, but we get to go straight to one of our signature cards, which, we will find out shortly, are the might of our wildly synergistic engine that makes this hero tick. Before we delve into that, though, let's finish up on our hero side. Hero form of Miss Marvel is possibly vexing for the unfamiliar pilot, but when played well, this ability can really put in some work. Miss Marvel is a champion inhuman who has the responsibility morphogenetics. After you play an attack, thwart, or defense event, exhaust Miss Marvel, return that event to your hand. In every aspect, we have some events that are going to pair well with this recursion ability, and we will go into depth in that when we get to our aspect analysis. However, just hang on for a few seconds and we're going to see some things that work really well inside of our signature pool. With an alter ego ability that can draw us into our signature hero cards and a hero power that will bring events back to our hand, you should be excited to see what FFG has dealt us with Miss Marvel. Of course, every hero comes with a 15-card signature pool that develops our character and can set it apart. Miss Marvel has 15 well-flavored cards that give us the true feel of a teenager caught between normalcy and hero life. Let's take a closer look at what we have. Our signature ally is Red Dagger. This 3-cost ally comes with 3 health, 2 thwart, and 2 attack, taking 1 consequential damage for either action. We have the champion trait and an interrupt ability that reads, when Red Dagger is defeated, spend 2 resources of different types, deal 2 damage to an enemy, and return Red Dagger to your hand. I honestly like this card a lot, but I find that it's being spent as a resource more often than it probably should. We see a bit of flavor with the recursion theme here, the incidental damage is good too, and late in the game you might have the 2 resources to continue to recycle this for multiple uses. But in a deck that we will see is likely to be built around event-based value engines, dropping 2 cards from your hand to get this back often means that we can't immediately replay it, and we're really just getting 2 damage for 1 cost. Not the best, and not where this hero is going to shine. Kamala Khan is going to rely on her alter ego time to set up some real swingy turns for her hero form. Leading the charge for her alter ego setup are her 3 persona supports, Amir Khan, Bruno Corelli, and Nakia Bahadir. All 3 provide alter ego actions which are designed to benefit forethought and planning. Amir is going to exhaust to put a card from discard into the bottom of the deck and then draw a card. Rarely this could be timed to immediately draw the card that we've put back, but depending on what we have already seen come through, we might be moving a Miss Marvel card back so that we can dig for it with her alter ego ability. One fun element of this foresight I have tried to take advantage of is the ability over several turns that can effectively build your final hand before your deck gets reshuffled. So choosing cards that will easily synergize and play well together is a good idea. It also helps to let you drop something as a resource early because it isn't great in that part of the game, but putting it back into the bottom of your deck can guarantee that it comes into your hand in the mid to late game, hopefully with better timing. Bruno Corelli is all about foresight. Store cards that you can't or won't play right now and then draw them again later. This is like card draw, but you get to pick what's going to come into your hand. It is key to note that his second ability is a normal action, so it does not have to be triggered in either form specifically, and can be triggered at any point that Bruno is ready and you have an action window. What you choose to dump under Bruno will also vary widely from game to game depending on aspect play, villain, and table status. Finally, let's take a look at Nakia Bahadir. This is like a prepaid free energy. It carries over after you flip, but it is always the next card after you activate her. So, huge value from a one-cost card that has perpetual resource generation. Hopefully we're thinking through our turns so that we can take advantage of this at an opportune time. Our transformation to Miss Marvel is going to be a little different than other heroes like Iron Man and Black Panther have been, partly because we have fewer pieces to hunt out, and partly because our super suit does things a little bit differently. The Biokinetic Polymer Suit is a one-cost upgrade that gives us a wild resource for an event. Not quite the general powerhouse of what we saw last week with Super Soldier Serum, but still, with a deck that is going to be pushing the utility of event cards, having a free resource for the event of your choosing is great. And pairing that wild resource with some of the events that add Stun or Confuse with the right resource expended is a recipe for success. Miss Marvel is also looking to master her two superpowers, Embiggen and Shrink. Each is a 2-cost upgrade that exhausts to enhance your events. Embiggen boosts the damage of an attack event by 2, and Shrink boosts the threat removal of a thwart event by 2. This can be big, pun acknowledged, boost to our events. Not to mention, we can get the event back and play it again if the price is right. Coming with us into the fray will be 3 signature events that can take full advantage of our superpowers. Big Hands and Sneak By are attack and thwart events, which can be boosted by our upgrades. Big Hands deals 4 damage to an enemy, while Sneak By removes 3 threat from a scheme. Both have good returns for their cost, but have phenomenal cost when they get paired with the proper upgrade. We also get Wiggle Room, which is a 0-cost defense event that will prevent 3 damage and draw us a card. The prevent 3 for 0 was good, replacing itself is better, and if we have something better to do with if we don't have something better to do with our abilities, getting it back through exhaustion is pure gold. I really like what we have here and find that I'm often looking for these signature events in lieu of aspect-specific options. Plus, these can be pulled out with our team spirit. Let's take a quick peek at our villain and his mission to ruin our day. We have the bird genius, Thomas Edison. He has 3 scheme and 1 attack with 3 health and has the ability that he cannot take damage while we are engaged with another enemy. When this guy is out, we are going to have to be very careful about our alter ego shenanigans. That 3 scheme is scary and will move things along at quite the clip. His side scheme, Generation Y, is going to attack our decks based on the number of ally and persona cards in play. Other heroes also rely on allies and personas. Think Pepper Potts and Aunt May. This could take a huge chunk of our deck away if it pops out in the mid to late game. It also has an additional encounter card per turn, although it only has 2 threat per player, so it should go away with just a little bit of effort. Edison's minion side pal is the giant robot. It has 1 scheme and 2 attack, but has a gargantuan 8 health. To top it off, you can't damage it. However, for the simple cost of 1 mental resource, you can negate the text and then damage it like normal. There's not a ton of mental resources in our signature pool, but if you want to toss in some extra with your aspect build, by all means, it can't hurt. Finally, Kamala's obligation is Home by Dawn. Oh, to be a teenager and need to sneak back in undetected. If we get caught, we either exhaust Kamala to remove this from the game or discard a persona support. If we can't do either one, this of course gains Surge. That's going to close out the signature cards for Miss Marvel, and in summary, we have a hero ability that is going to keep us from attempting to use our paltry stat line. We're probably going to be flipping our identity multiple times, and will likely need to use our big recover to recharge for more event-based fighting. Good aspect builds are going to center around cheap, reusable events, and getting our persona engine built as early as possible will help us get things set up. With an elementary understanding of how this hero is going to work, let's pore over the aspects and see what pairings may be right for you. Aggression, home of, well, uncontrolled targeted destruction. With Miss Marvel, I like to call this Value Town. Aggression has 0-cost thwart and attack events that can be boosted by our superpowers and brought back to our hand with our hero ability. There's a fun rules interaction where you can play a card like Get Over Here, boost it with Embiggen to deal 3 damage for no cost, exhaust Miss Marvel to get it back into your hand, and then in the same window use it again for 1 more damage, effectively dealing 4 damage for no cost. The same trick works with Chase Them Down for a giant threat torpedo. Being able to toss around some low-cost events and even boost them means that we can really clean up with support cards like Hall of Hero and Relentless Assault as one of those events that's going to benefit from the Polymer suit by getting the benefit of a resource match. I believe the folks over at Team Covenant have just shown us how well this can work out, so let me know if you've seen their version on stream and what you thought about it. Justice shares many of the same cohesive elements that we just discussed with Aggression. We have low-cost threat reduction and resource matching events. However, there are only 2 events in this pool that you can bring back with your hero or target with your superpowers. A good build here is going to be relying on those boosted abilities to trigger key upgrade and supports for our benefit. Trying to use a resource matched for Justice to clear a side scheme which has been tagged with Followed is a good example of that. Great Responsibility becomes a great debate here. You can't bring it back with Miss Marvel's ability, but you can take a good deal of damage knowing that when you flip to Kamala Khan, you're going to be able to heal for 5 at a time. What do you think? Is Great Responsibility going to make your cut in a Justice build here? Leadership just feels like bad beats with Miss Marvel. Despite the aesthetically pleasing color match between her suit and the Telltale Blue cards, there is nothing by way of synergy to go around. We don't want to boost our own stat line, and we hope not to use it. Count them. No attack, thwart, or defend events are in the entire leadership pool. And the best event of the whole lot doesn't even have a cost, so we're not even going to be able to use our suit to pay for it. Looks to me like there's a reason why we don't put our trust in the next generation too early. Someone convince me otherwise, but I say this is not a good idea. We could just restate everything that I said about aggression and add that there is an element of survivability to protection that will allow us more freedom to see our alter ego side face up. There are zero-cost attack and defend events that can synergize. However, the defense event, Expert Defense, requires us to defend, and that is terrible since we can't get it back to our hand if we do. The attack event, Counterpunch, requires us to defend first, but we get to boost it with Embiggen and can get it back with our hero. Preemptive Strike is fun in a not-so-great way. If you blank on icons, you can get it back and re-roll by exhausting. Or you could just double it up if you're feeling a little bit frisky. We do get resource matching events here with good payoff and bonus. Tackle is going to give us a stun with 3 damage that we could boost with Embiggen to 5. Decent return, good status card, but not quite the power that you're going to get with the aggression pool. To be fair, I also have to mention that Second Wind has a resource match, and it can get us a whole 1 extra heal if we play things out just right. At this point, we normally share a sample deck for you to consider, copy, or possibly even just ignore, but not this week. We're going to be putting out a video dedicated to the deck building element of this game, and so later this week, look for an exclusive Miss Marvel deck build here on the channel. That does close out our hero review, though, and this time for our second expansion hero. Let us know what you think about Miss Marvel. Is she too complicated to master? Can she be played in all 4 aspects? We thank you again for joining us here at Nomad Gaming, and we are going to be putting out more reviews and gameplay soon and are looking to add consistency and flow to our content schedule. If you're interested in our first gameplay video, check it out through the link on screen. We do a very basic run-through of our Leadership Captain America deck just to show how it works out and with what aspects. And what to expect. Stay tuned for more gameplay featuring heroic level play and some of my favorite decks, and if you would like to lend us your support for free, please subscribe, like, share, and turn on your notifications. Until next time, though, let's go game.